Oh, got one more to add in. Okay. Okay. Starting over. Good morning. So today is technically our second frequency playground. Last week we had the playing with Shen with Kimberly, which was unbelievably amazing. And our frequency playgrounds, just if you haven't been here before, are kind of set up to every week have a boutique kind of topic that we are bringing in to talk about how everything is energy, everything is frequency, and to kind of weave in information about how frequency really impacts our lives. Because there's so many ways and so many things that we can use the Healy for, the Mag Healy for, and just understanding frequency in general is a really beautiful, beautiful thing. Like, we want to understand the device, we want to understand how to use the Healy and the Mag Healy, but we also want to understand, like, how does frequency impact our lives? And we want it to be fun. That's why it's the playground, right? Like, how else can we play with frequency, with quantum, with energy? And turns out there's a lot of ways. So that's very exciting. So my name's Annie, if you haven't come before. And all the presenters that are coming up and going to be sharing going forward, at least for now, are all people on my team. This is a way for me to really raise up all of the leaders and beautiful souls on my team to share their genius. And I'm super excited because, I don't know if you saw last week's, but go back in and watch the Shen one. It was fire. There was so much information there. And it's just so fun. I feel so filled up after these, like, with just brand new information. So that's what Frequency Playground is. And you can look forward to lots more. And in fact, I'm going to invite Judy on for a moment to talk about what's coming with our Frequency Playground to make it easy for all of you to find out what's going on. So,
hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness. So nice to be here. And Annie, can I please thank you? I'm sure on behalf of probably everyone here who knows you for putting this together, this beautiful magic. We really do have such a beautiful treasure on our hands. And we're all sharing ways in which we're using this. And so what we've done is every single week, we have one of these beautiful sessions planned. And we've created a beautiful page with a description of, next week's session, who's speaking, what are they speaking about, what is it going to be all about, and then the following week. And so we have this beautiful page, which we are going to be sharing later today to everyone. So whoever invited you on the call, if you're new to this beautiful world of understanding what Healy's all about, just go back to that person and we'll share that link with you. And on that page, we'll have every single session. So I want to just share a couple of examples. The very next, so obviously this week we have the beautiful Brie, who's going to be speaking. And then next week we have frequency and money blocks, clearing and releasing energetic blocks with Tracy. And then the following week we have frequency and self-discovery. And the following week we have frequency and home education. The following week, frequency and cacao. The list goes on. These are so exciting, aren't they? So wouldn't it be nice to go to one place and just be like, oh my God, look at all of these. How can I just tell everybody about these? So we have them. It's a beautiful page with the description of each of these events coming up, and anyone can just sign their name and email, and then they'll get reminders every week. They'll get a reminder the day before and about half an hour before we start. So that's happening, and we'll be launching that in a few hours with you.
Hey, thank you, Judy. Yay. So it's going to be just so much easier. I'll still do pretty pictures in all the groups just because that's how I like to do that. But you'll be able to just come in and see them all and be able to sign up and go forward from there. And yeah, so without further ado, I want to hand it over to the amazing Brie. Can Judy, could you type in the chat what Brie's Instagram account is really quick, that'd be amazing. And also just pop in here where you're calling in from, because that would be great. I know that Brie's going to ask you some good questions. But if you do not follow her, please follow Brie. The one word that I always think of when I think of Brie is impeccable. Her art is impeccable. Her recipes are impeccable. The way she does her life, it's just everything about her is like impeccably, like it's just beautiful. And you vibrate, Brie, this frequency in the world. And I couldn't think of a better person to be talking about high vibration food and frequency than you. And I can't wait. Brie talked also on our ritual party that we did a big ritual event in December, and Brie was one of our speakers. And again, it was just so fire. So I'm really, really excited to introduce you, Brie, and let you have the floor and share your genius with us, babe.
Thank
I'm gonna mute
you.
myself.
Awesome. Thank you. So that is like the sweetest. I remember on the ritual retreat when Annie came through with that word for me, it like really hit my heart in such a yeah, generous way. Cause well, I'm Virgo sun, and then I have moon in Taurus, rising Cancer. And I remember getting my astrology done years ago. And my friend was sharing with me that with the Taurus and the Cancer, I just like to make things beautiful. Like that's really important to me, is to like make my space beautiful, make my food beautiful, my environment, like everything I see, I just really wanted to have that beauty. So when Annie described that for me, it was just like, wow, thank you for seeing me. I think that, yeah, that was really sweet. So my background, I have been a raw vegan chef, plant-based chef. I started in this sort of, yeah, when I was about 17, I started in these raw food restaurants in San Diego. And now disclaimer, I'm not like 100% raw vegan. I have much more of a variety, flexible diet at this point. But my introduction to food and preparing and cooking and making food with my hands was through raw food. And it was just so exciting at that time, all the different ways that you could get creative and make something look like meat, maybe taste a little bit like meat, but not actually be meat. It was just, to me, I was always drawn to bright colors. And so food that had and held a lot of light always attracted me. Now, so that's the thing with my research that I've come through with the frequency of food, is that the frequency is going to be at the highest when it's closest to the source. So walking through an orchard, picking an apple or picking a peach and eating it right there, it's going to hold the highest frequency. And then once it passes through so many hands, it just starts to, the frequency starts to lower a little bit. So like the Tibetans, they have a saying of like, you don't want as many hands touching your food before it gets to your mouth. So like the ideal scenario would be to, have our own garden, grow our own food, know the soil, like make sure the soil's really enriched and all of that. So yeah, just, I think we kind of shared some of the frequencies through the introduction to this talk. But for example, fresh produce holds 15 hertz. And then if you get up to like some of the herbs, like fresh herbs will have 20 to 27 hertz. Rose, so I have a water infused with some rose petals and cucumber. Rose holds the highest frequency, which is 320 hertz. So let me just share some of my favorite ways to also kind of, you're buying food at the grocery store and you can bring that energy back to it, I think. So even if you weren't able to go hand pick everything for your meal, I think that we have a lot of different tools, techniques, and practices and rituals that can also bring back and enliven that frequency. So some of my favorite ways are prayer, blessing. And we see this. I grew up Catholic. So before we had our dinner, we would say that Catholic prayer before eating. But, using your hands, a lot of times before I have a meal, rub my hands together, take a couple deep breaths, and the heart energy comes through your hands. So you can even use your own heart frequency to enhance the frequency of the food you're eating. gratitude, of course. So when I sit down sometimes with my son, I try to kind of think of all the ways the food came to us, through the seed, through the soil, through the sun, through the hands of the farmers, you know, just kind of thinking of all the different things that I can feel grateful for in order for it to be received on my plate. Crystals. Annie probably has a lot more to share about crystals, but rose quartz. You can have, I love having rose quartz in my kitchen. Shungite can be very cleansing. Carnelian is actually known to assist you with, like, if there's any sort of bad habits that you kind of want to kick with your diet or with your eating regimen. Carnelian can be really helpful to kick bad habits and increase vitality. So these can be in your kitchen, on your counter, by your food as you're preparing. And then dancing and music. So I love, like, yeah, I always have some music playing and, you know, working with your body. Again, you're using your hands to prepare the food. So making sure that the energy and the frequency of your body is uplifted. And that's another way Healy can come into this. You know, obviously we have such a variety of frequencies that we can work with before preparing our food. So you can, you know, use that resonance analysis and see what's most needed at that time, and, you know, get your frequency levels up as you're making the food. Okay, so slow intake. Slowing down as we're eating as well. Just being, yeah, really conscious of our chewing, all of those things. I think you guys probably have a good understanding of a lot of these things. And then, okay, so meditation, breath work, qigong, and this really like hit me with the Shen. If you didn't watch with Kimberly, her, I watched the replay. When they're saying it was amazing, that's like, it was incredible. So working with a chi ball is another way to kind of, right, like getting, and it's so quick. All you have to do is do a couple of those movements in your hands and you can start to really feel, like, to me, it feels very magnetic. Starts to feel like almost like two magnets coming together, and then you hit that point and you can really feel the energy between your hands. So qigong is also another great tool, technique. Does everyone have a pea fruit with them today? If you're, can you guys say in the chat if you got the memo to bring a pea fruit? Because we're working with, so this time of year with spring, there's a Kundalini practice. It's called the metabolic overhaul. And it's actually a really long kriya, so I'm going to condense it. Okay, plum is perfect. Plum, peach, pear, pineapple, but pineapples are really big. And since we're going to be holding the fruit, you kind of want something that you can fit in your hand. Now, if you don't have a fruit that starts with the letter P, you can use anything. And if you don't have any kind of fruit or any kind of food that you're going to be eating today with the practice, you could just pretend it's there. Like apple's great. Yeah. So, the springtime with this metabolic overhaul is the perfect time, Yogi Bhajan said, to eat pea fruits, and it's going to give you a lot of hydration, a lot of vitality. And since, you know, a lot of these high vibe foods, it's the water content that keeps and retains that frequency. So think of like really hydrating fruits and stuff like that. Right. So we are going to do this practice, and then I'm going to share with you some of my favorite recipes. So if you guys have some space, we're going to be, you're just going to need enough room to stand up and sit down and lay down. We're going to do a little bit of movement, and we're going to work with the heart. So we're going to be using the arms quite a bit. Now, if you've never done Kundalini before, you either love it or you hate it. And even if you hate it, you end up loving it in the end. It's always very uncomfortable, but it can quickly, efficiently, and effectively shift your energy. And for this one, we're only doing 3 minutes of movement, and you're going to feel completely different. So grab your fruit if you have it, find some space to move. I want to test my music before we get started. So if someone can stay on in the chat and make sure that the music level is at it so you can hear it. I'm going to play it from my phone rather than through the computer. Too loud or just right? Can't hear it?
Can't hear it yet, babe.
Can't hear it?
Yep.
Okay, let me try from my computer.
If it is loud, then I think that sometimes Zoom buffers loud sounds so that they can't come through or blast everybody out. So if it is loud on your side, it's probably buffering it so that we can't hear it, so it won't blast everybody.
Gotcha. Okay, can you hear anything now?
No.
Okay, okay. All right, let me try again from my phone. I mean, if
You can also share from within the computer, like under share screen. When you go to share screen, you can share advanced, and you can share the audio within the computer, and that way you don't buffer it.
I think I need to be made a host. So let me
Yes.
try. Yeah, is there anyone that can make me a host? We could try that. Unless you guys can hear it now. It's like a beat, no beating. Okay. Okay. Let me try it this way. Actually, the music is kind of a piece of it that I would really want to make sure it's. I'm not a host yet. Is that
Hold on.
okay?
Judy, remind me how to do that.
Okay, that's a good point. How to turn somebody into a host. That also I don't know. I know how to share the sound within.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me admit these two people. It's okay, we'll get it.
I could sing to you guys.
Yeah, that would be
I
perfect.
totally could.
Maybe this is what's meant to be.
It's a chant. I could just sing it to you.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
Let's just go for that. I don't want to hold off too much. Okay, cool. So first we're gonna open with the Adi mantra. If you know it, you can chant with me. If you don't know it, you could hum or you could just breathe. So let's just rub our hands together, activate that heart energy in the hands. Rub, rub, rub. And then bring that to stillness. Take another deep breath in and out. And this mantra is just going to kind of align and activate the Gurudev, the teacher within. So if you want to join, inhale once more. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Take a deep breath in and hold the breath in. As you bring your attention to your spine, sitting up tall, holding the breath, squeezing the pelvic floor. And then exhale, relax. So this kriya is to balance the head and the heart. You're going to sit comfortably for this first portion. And you're going to extend your arms out. Now I realize my hands are off screen. As you extend your arms out, flex your wrists. Yeah, so the wrists are flexed. The arms are straight. You can see one arm here. So this is going to be a really sharp breath in the nose. And then as you exhale, bring the fingers forward. And then as you inhale, bring the fingers back up. And as you exhale, point the fingers back. We're doing this for 1 minute. Good. So it's just a rotation of the arms, and it starts to get really uncomfortable really fast. But just try to keep the elbow straight, the wrist flexed. Try to stay with that powerful breath through the nose. Inhale up, exhale forward, or exhale back. And again, we're working with the heart meridian that comes from the chest, moves through the arms. So we're going to break up any stagnation in the heart meridian, break up any blockages. The arms are probably getting a little warm, starting to feel some heat. We've got about 20 seconds left. Lift the crown, relax the shoulders, keep the elbows straight, keep that breath going through the nose. Breathe a little louder. Go a little faster. Now inhale, hold. You should feel your heart beating in your chest. Connect to your heart, hold the breath, hold the pose. Exhale, relax, soften, release that tension from the shoulders. Smooth out the heart by slowing down your breath. The heart actually gives 5,000 times more information to the brain than the brain does to the heart. And so there's only 2 more movements here to this Kriya, and then we do our meditation with the pair. So extend the arms out the same way. This is your inhale once again. And then your exhale, you're going to cross your hands in front of your head, and it doesn't matter which is in front of the other, just cross the hands. And then inhale back to that first position, and then exhale, cross the hands behind the head, right? So inhale, open arms, exhale in front of the head, inhale, open arms, exhale behind the head. We're here for a minute. Go as fast as you can. You're crossing the arc line, which goes from ear to ear. Dynamic, loud, consistent breath. We're just working with repetition of movement guided by the breath. Opening up the heart center and balancing the head and the heart. So we balance. Anytime we start to feel confused, conflicted, or a little unsure, we want to drop back into the heart. We want to be able to quickly move out of the head and into the heart. Good. Almost there. About 25 seconds, as fast as you can. Really fast. Really strong. This is where the beating of the drum from that song would be really nice. But we got the beating of the heart, so that's even better. 10 seconds. Stop. Inhale, the arms open, hold the breath. Squeeze the spine, lift through the head, and then relax the arms and really feel what has shifted. Feel what sensations might be lingering through the chest, the arms. Maybe you feel the heart beating in the belly or in the fingertips. It's very cardiovascular, right? So we're not running, we're just moving our arms. Huge shift. So the last thing we're gonna do here is you're gonna come up to standing. Okay, so I'm gonna actually kind of kneel down so you can see. So the arms are the same as what we just did. We're doing the arms exactly the same. But what we're doing now from standing is you're gonna squat. So as you come up, you inhale, open the arms. As you exhale, bring the hands in front of the face. Squat down as low as you can, and then inhale back up. Exhale, the hands go behind the head. So ready, 1 minute. As fast as you can, as low as you can with the squat. You inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. The arms are crossing in front and behind the head as you squat. Good, 20 seconds. Three, 2, Come up, inhale, stand tall, open the arms. Exhale, relax the arms. Grab your fruit, come right onto your back. Get comfortable. Hold your fruit in your hands, right above your heart. Close your eyes and meditate on the energy, the vibration, and the frequency that this beautiful food holds for you. Now the words are Wahe Guru, Wahe Geo. When my heart slows down, I will sing this to you. This is a mantra of great ecstasy. So have your heart holding your fruit in a sense, as your arms are an extension of your heart. Start to invite in longer, slower, deeper breaths. Meditate on the energy that you're holding in your hands and infuse it with your heart frequency. Waheguru, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo. You can chant with me. Waheguru, Wahegeo, 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 Waheguru, Wahegeo. Now come up to seated. Waheguru, Wahegeo, and hold your fruit out in front of your heart seated. Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo, Waheguru, Wahegeo. Inhale and hold your breath in. Hold your fruit in front of your heart. And then exhale, draw the fruit to your heart. Take another deep breath in and hold the breath in. And then exhale, gaze at your fruit with loving eyes and take a bite. Hopefully it's ripe. Satnam. That is the closing for our pea fruit kriya practice. And I can share with you a link to actually the full kriya and the full mantra and song that goes with that. But I just wanted to share that fun little thing, because it is a practice that you're meant to do during the springtime. So it was like a perfect timing. Now, enjoy your fruit as long as you want. And I'm going to shift you guys into like my living room kitchen area, where I can share with you like my plating technique, the lion's mane turmeric latte recipe. So just bear with me while I switch rooms. All right. Thank you guys so much for participating. I could see some of you holding your fruit out from your heart. It was so beautiful. So I did want to share. So Healy is such an unbelievable way that we can also take frequency to the next level with our food. So this is the beautifying beet dip. This was actually, I started my own company like 2 years ago, and it was all vegan dips and spreads that were infused with different adaptogens. So this is one of them that I was selling. And this was before Healy, but while I would make these dips in my kitchen for the farmer's market, I would play frequency like music, basically. So for this one, I would look up like the frequency for the heart, and I would play like 528 hertz for like 2 hours while I was making beet dip. Because there was just this pulling to me that food has frequency, and like no one ever talked about it. But I would tell my, people that came to purchase the dips that I infuse this with the frequency of love. And then Healy shows up in my life after I chose to close the business, which is amazing, right? It was like, because I live in Vero Beach. So those of you that know Healy and may have been at the Vero Beach retreat, I was like, how in the world did this happen? Like all these beautiful women like Annie just showing up in my town, inviting me into this beautiful community. So I'm forever grateful. Now, what I've done here is I've taken the adhesives and I've attached it to this jar of the beet dip, and I played the heart meridian frequency. And you can get super creative with this. You can kind of play whatever frequency you want to infuse it with. Like, for example, say you had something that was questionable, like, I got these beets and I'm just not sure of the source. Maybe you maybe you apply the impurities frequency to kind of pull out any impurities that could be lingering in that food. So yeah, it's really like, I'm just starting to scratch the surface of this with Healy right now, but it's going to be incredible to start playing around with it more and more. All right, so I'm going to show you guys my plating technique. And again, with my Taurus Cancer in my chart, everything to me, like, I just love making things look beautiful. So this is going to look a little different than the image that was shared when we were promoting the frequency playground, but it's going to more or less kind of have the same sort of theme of the plating. Can you guys see my plate here now?
Yeah. Brie, also, you're going to put the recipe, we'll have the recipe on the website.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat right now.
Okay,
Unless
And then we'll also put it there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I'll put it in the chat after I'm done. But okay, so this, if you're using whatever kind of dip you're using, it could be anything, but this is the Beautifying Beet Dip, which has raw beet, raw macadamia, raw cashew, and then I used pine pollen, which is from the pine tree. And this is a longevity aphrodisiac, superfood or adaptogen. But so just kind of put a little dose of that in the recipe. So basically when I spread it on the plate, I don't want it to be perfectly smooth. I kind of want to have like with the back of the spoon, I'll leave some like spaces where I can put a bit of oil just to kind of like bring that glow to the plate even more. So then one side has quite a bit of the dip and the other side, I just kind of left a little shy so that I can start putting some, I did roasted broccoli, roasted Brussels sprout. And I'm a big fan of I'm kind of like a 50-50 diet. I like to eat like 50% maybe raw, fresh, and then the other 50% cooked. So I'm not like a super, like everything has to be raw or nothing ever has to be anyway for me. I'm like actually quite open and flexible, but I find that like my body feels really nourished when there's like a 50-50 situation going on in the meals. So this is partially raw, partially cooked. And then I just kind of start taking the side of the plate that had a lot more space, and I just start to fill it up with some, I'm going to use this, this is called a Kyocera. Why am I blanking? It's a hand mandolin. There you go. Yeah, mandolin. Thank you. I'm shaving some cucumber. So I always like different textures, different shapes. So this is like a nice little thin, crunchy aspect to add to the dish. And again, the cucumber's raw while the other pieces are cooked. So there's like, to me, like a little bit of meatiness with the broccoli and the Brussels sprout, and then a lot of freshness with the cucumber. And then garnishing with some seeds. So pumpkin seed, I've kind of stayed with a green theme, but I didn't even realize it. So the green and the pink really pop together. Pumpkin seed and hemp seed. Go around the plate a little bit and kind of over the veggies there. And then I like things that like stick up. So I like it when there's like an elevation to the food. So I have some caper berries, and it's kind of fun to have the stems sort of sticking up around the plate. And then just to honor the pine pollen here. Oh, and Annie gave everyone at the retreat this spoon, and I use it like every single day.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, my adaptogen spoon with the crystal, right? So can't get any more beautiful. But then, yeah, I'll use like a really small sifter. So instead of just dumping the, pine pollen anywhere it's going to be all clumpy, I'll place it in the sifter, and I'll just kind of like intuitively go around where I feel like it would pop on the plate. And what's so beautiful about pine pollen is it almost looks like gold dust. So it goes really well with like chocolate. Sometimes I'll just do like a chocolate mousse with some pine pollen on top, and it looks like it's dusted with gold. Okay. So that's the plate. This is the beet dip with some roasted veggies. Yeah, capers, seeds, and pine pollen. And this is really delicious with like some toasted bread or crackers. And I have like I just made like a really delicious all seed cracker. I call them conscious crackers. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can find the conscious cracker recipe there.
Brie, we have a question. Are the seeds roasted?
I did them raw, but actually I think that they would be better roasted because as they sit on the dip right now, they're going to get a little soggy. So if you eat it right away, it's fine. But like a toasted or roasted seed would offer like a better crunch, and it would probably last a little longer with the dish. So it's kind of, it's your preference, but. Okay. I'm going to grab some steamed oat milk and I'll be right back to do the drink here.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of intervene while she's doing that. If you have any questions that you want to pop in, pop them in here to the chat right now. But one of the things that I think is really fascinating about like even just the plating, right? That beauty in and of itself and love and harmony, they all carry a 221 megahertz frequency. That beauty in and of itself is a frequency, right? And it's everything, right? Has energy and frequency, of course. But if you've ever been to like a Zen Buddhist temple or something like that, or know anything about Zen Buddhism, beauty is actually one of the tenets. So even simple beauty, it's and we all have our own version of beauty, right? But to create like a very simple, which we will have a frequency playground on flowers, of course, and even creating a very simple flower arrangement for the intention of creating beauty in your home environment, or wherever you are, elevates the frequency of your space. And when you have something alive, I always tell people if they're creating an altar or in their kitchen or wherever, that you have something alive, an altar with something that has life force and life prana, life energy. So anyway, that was a little side note while Brie was getting her other thing.
Absolutely. I love, like, when I first started practicing Qigong, one of my teachers would always say that smiling is an ancient beauty secret. So smiling when you're making food too. Smile, laugh, have joy. Yeah, it's all going to enhance. All right. So this is a lion's mane turmeric latte, and it's, I'm going to share the recipe, but it's just a variety of spices pre-mixed with some lion's mane added in. And there's two different ways that I usually make this, but I'm going to share the way. It's kind of like I use it with my matcha whisk. So I'll just do like a teaspoon of this. It has cardamom, it has cinnamon, lots of turmeric, lots of ginger, nutmeg, and then the lion's mane. And this is like something that you can have on hand, and it will stay, I think it'll stay fresh for at least a month. But I go through it pretty fast. So it's usually lasting in my cupboard for like 2 weeks. So you'll do just about a spoonful of the spice mix, and you want to start with a little bit of water. So you don't want to fill it up to the top if you're using the matcha whisk. You want to start with a little bit and just kind of with hot water, just kind of get that to blend and dissolve. And then you can add some honey. So at that point, once, I've got some of the spice already mixed in with the water, making sure that the water's hot, it'll also dissolve the honey with the heat. So you can just put in whatever you think, like a teaspoon, half teaspoon, and then give that another little whisk. And you can do this with all milk if you want. So you could do it with like a raw milk, or you could do it with your favorite kind of nut milk. Then you'll add a little bit more water or a little bit more milk if that's what you're choosing. And then I like to top it off with milk. So I like to do actually like a 50-50 blend. So I'll do a little water just to get all of that sort of dissolved and blended in. And then I'll top it with some whatever kind of milk. Today it's oat milk. And get some of that froth on top. And garnish it with a little bit of nutmeg, which is really strong. So I don't ever really use powdered nutmeg. I always use like a fresh nutmeg, and this is a microplaner. So you can just get like a couple of shavings right on top. And this is so nice. Like when people come over, I always have something to offer. I always like to offer something warm to drink. So this is nice to have on hand. And I don't really have very many people that aren't down for a turmeric latte. I mean, you're like, do you want a latte? Like, yeah, I'll take that. So, yeah, I'll put these recipes in the chat for you guys. Yes, with raw milk. That's amazing that you can get it. We can get it here in Florida. We have a place where we can go and get raw milk, but not everywhere has. It's like illegal in New York, I believe. Any questions?
There was a question about where you get your pine pollen.
Okay, so sun potion. I'm not sure if I'm too late, but this time of year would be the time of year where you could actually try go harvesting it yourself. I haven't had a chance to go check around my local pine trees, but Sun Potion is one of my favorite brands. I know that they have integrity and I trust their quality. So all of the adaptogens I use are either from Sun Potion or Anima Mundi, but I don't think Anima Mundi has pine pollen. So yeah, Sun Potion. Yeah. Let me take a sip of this.
Yes. Yay.
Go. Thank you, Louise.
Yeah. Do you does anybody have any like questions or anything that you want to add to this topic of food and vibration? I had seen there was a couple of comments about Christina, I think, running a retreat this summer. Food frequency is a huge part of it. Yeah, but just talking about frequency and food, I think it's such a powerful, beautiful share, because Brie, one of the things that you might want to also in contrast talk about is like low vibration food, like just so that there's kind of a contrast and like, and maybe share with us like just kind of some of that contrast.
Well, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, have you guys ever seen Kirlian photography? I mean, maybe I'm not saying it right. Kirlian, I think it's pronounced Kirlian. Okay, Kirlian. Look it up. Kirlian photography is a way where they've been able to capture the energy and the light that emits from food. So if you look it up, the two probably first images you'll see are, it might be like the tomato image and an apple. So if you look at, it shows side by side the photography of a cooked tomato and a fresh tomato. And like the fresh tomato is emitting so much more like of a symmetrical amount of light. And then the one that's cooked just looks a little, I wouldn't say deformed, because I'm not against cooked food at all, but it's just a way of kind of showing like how fresh and close to source food retains that symmetry and that beauty. And then it just kind of starts to break down. So I think, like obviously the things that are going to have low vibration are anything GMO, anything that's been handed through many hands or processed in a variety of ways, like anything packaged, of course, like the vitality is just gone. What else would I mean, coffee, caffeine, caffeinated teas, like herbal teas, of course, are going to hold a higher frequency and hold more vibration, hold more light. Again, I'm not like against meat. I think it's just, of course, I haven't really seen the Kirlian photography of like a meat source that's free range and grass fed and well, like humane versus one that's not. But I would imagine you would see a huge difference in the frequency and the light that emits from those two different options.
Yeah. And I think like I'll add in this piece about having the mag Healy, because when you have the mag Healy, you can also then, if because I know Brie doesn't have the mag yet, but if she had this, she could put it directly over that turmeric latte that she's got right now, and she could structure it. So the mag Healy has 24 programs that you can structure your drinks, right? Water, cacao, lattes, really anything. You could structure that with any one of those 24 programs. So there's heart opening and like a love frequency, harmony. There's literally so many that you could do. But I think that that's also amazing. And then there is, while you're creating your food, there's a food program on in the atmosphere module of the Mag Healy. So I also think that that's really powerful to be able to use in your kitchen. I'm sure when Brie gets the Mag Healy, she will be probably using it in the kitchen, but that's a really powerful thing that because it has this 10-foot radius, you could be using it while you're creating your food. There's a kitchen one, a pantry one, and a cooking one. So there's like all of these different frequencies on the Mag Healy. So I think that that's really, yeah, that's really great. Those are all in the atmosphere. So if you're selling Heelys, right, to customers, or you're sharing it with people, and think about the mag as well, because you can share it with a restaurant owner, right? They could be running the water prosperity over their water. They could then run the food structuring in the kitchen. They could run the prosperity one on their business entirely. So there's so many things that like individual, unlike Brie said, right, you could run the frequency over the food before you're, and then you could also then advertise that you are a restaurant that utilizes frequency to structure water and food and the environment and harmonize the environment. So yeah, consider the Mag Healy for that. I think that that's a really powerful thing to note, as you're sharing Healy with people, that you know, right? That's kind of a really powerful thing. And as a side note, maybe you all don't know, maybe you do, but you know, it's 35% off this month. So that's really powerful. That's like $1,000 off. And one thing I want to clarify, just while I have people here, what that means, also that currently they will be changing the module. They'll be changing how you get programs come May. So right now you will get the Mag Healy at 35% off with all the programs. But starting in May, you will if you buy the Mag Healy, you will only get the classic program. So then you will have to buy a subscription that will then, and that you pay every month, I believe, on that subscription, in order to access the other programs and the new programs that will likely be coming for the MAG. But if you get the MAG before May, then you get grandfathered in. So you always have lifetime of all of those 144 frequencies that it has now. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the Healy works best when we're well hydrated, and the Healy works with our cells, right? So think of like food that holds a lot of water and like the freshest food that contain the most cells. So it's definitely going to have an effect on those foods for sure. So I'm going to get my MAC.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
Hi, this time.
There's a couple questions in here, Brie. What are good programs to use on the Healy while preparing food? And Base asked, does the frequency hold using the Healy or the MAG when freezing food? What is the frequency?
I would think, does the frequency hold using the Healy or MAG when you're freezing food? Like using it before you freeze food? Or, I mean, to be honest, I haven't tried it, but like, I would think yes, definitely, because even though the food that has with water content, it's freezing and it's holding that water content. So I think it'll hold on to those frequencies for sure. What was the other question? What programs do you use? So yeah, I mean, honestly, I do my resonance analysis a lot. So I always just make sure that like I'm the channel for the high frequency that I'm using to heighten the frequency of the food through my elevated state. So I use really like what's coming through for me. That's like that's been like what I've practiced for the past like 2 months since being playful with it. But there are like there's programs for toxins, there's programs for impurities. So like I said before, if you're kind of like questioning like the quality of the food, definitely work with those frequencies. If you're, and if you're like, I'm eating this food because it's going to be good for my liver, I'm eating this thing because it's going to help my blood, then look at those frequencies and kind of couple that together with like what the food is going to do for your body, and like really like elevate it.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that that's great. There's also I'm looking at the mag too, just some of the other programs, and like there's pre and post workout. So I think that that's kind of interesting. So whatever food that you're, intaking with that, I think that could be really interesting. And one of the things that Brie just said, which I think this is why I wanted to do these playgrounds, because they're like, we're playing with this. Like she just said that. I'm still playing, like we can give you some ideas, right? But really the question is, what programs do you want to play with it, right? Like, because the truth is we're all just learning how many things you can do with the Healy and the Mag Healy. And of course, we're always adding in, like I have a rule in my kitchen, there's no fighting in the kitchen. That's a vibration, right? Like take your argument somewhere else. I don't want it in my kitchen, right? Because that's a vibe, right? That's a vibration that you just don't want to have in there. You want to be cooking with joy. And for you, that's coming just through you, obviously, right? Of course, you want to cook with your heart. Like there's a difference between the food that your mother makes. You might go to the best Italian restaurant in the world and have their spaghetti, and your mother makes you spaghetti, and it's just like, it just tastes better, right? Like, because it's just made with her love. And or whatever you grew up eating, when you go and you have your mother's or your father's food, it tastes different, right, than anywhere else in the world, because they made it for you with love. And I think we threw around a meme, just about how food made with love is the highest frequency, because that's what nourishes our body here. And I just think this topic is so valuable and so important. And I told Brie, I don't know if she agreed yet, but I told her we need like a regular Brie like recipe thing that maybe develops, where everyone's bringing their food and we make it all together, and just some kind of high vibration kitchen or something, because is so fun and it's so powerful to learn from a chef who knows what she's doing, B, that we're all expanding. And I might put the heart opening frequency in my food, but you might put just maybe you want to put prosperity in your food and just eat that all day. I mean, snaps to that, whatever.
One thing I did also was I had the photo of the beet dip that was already plated, and then I put that in the analysis app, and I did an analysis with that. And what came up, it was just really interesting. So the power of 3 programs came up. And so I'm like, okay, what is this? Does this mean that if these are the programs that I should be wearing while I'm eating the food? Kappa program came up out of the power of 3. And I'm like, would that mean that this food is going to work well with that frequency kind of like flowing through me? Or the gold programs came up next, which are all about getting the body in that like optimal state. So that's something that I'm going to start like practicing, is like, letting the food kind of show me what frequencies it wants to work with, actually.
Yeah, I think that that's so powerful. And the other piece is, right, like now you have another piece of information. Let's say a chef or a restaurateur, you have another piece of information to go, hey, there's so many ways you can use the Healy. Like Brie's just going, okay, now I'm going to play with it this way because I scanned this beet dip and now it's saying it's good for all of these things. And then you get to kind of then expand even more, right? So run a frequency on your food and see what happens. Like so what she did was take a picture, put it in, if you have the Pro, right? Put it in. Well, I guess you don't even need the Pro, right? The Pro or any of them, right? Because if you're not using the Coach, you would still have that All Healy program. I think is that what you use, Brie? The All Healy programs for that one?
I did All Healy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then you would look at it and go, okay, so what is it scanning the vibration of these frequencies of this food. But like I was telling Brie, you could also make that food a client. Then you put it in as a client. If you've got the Pro or the Resonance Plus, you could do that in the Coach. You make it a client. Then you say in the focus, you say, I am grateful that I understand your medicine for me. And then you click all of the boxes, and then you can read in percentages and in the full thing of what that frequency is and what it can do. Then you could take that specific frequency from that and actually then charge up your beet dip or whatever. So like there's lots and lots of ways that you can do this.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
I love that. Is it Reina on your sourdough starter? Oh my gosh. Can you send me some, please? I love sourdough. That's like one, I'm like, I've done bread, but I've never done sourdough. And like, I'm always like fascinated with people who are good sourdough makers. Yay. Cool.
That's such a great idea. I know, I want sourdough too. That sounds good.
It's living, right? It's alive. Your starter's like, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good idea. Anybody else have any good ideas on how they're going to now go home, get to your kitchen and use the Healy or the Mag Healy on all of your food? Sounds so good. The coil, can you use the coil and set it next to the food?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Are there any more questions for Brie? This was so good. Anyone want to pop on and give some feedback? We don't have like a ton of people, so it'd be great to give Brie some feedback. Anyone, just you can undo, we can just do popcorn style information. That would be great. Judy, let's go to you first.
Brianna, oh my goodness. First of all, you're glowing and you just look so, you're like an angel. Thank you for your beautiful energy and for sharing. This is so beautiful. I really would love to see this every month as well. And like the interaction of bringing stuff, so good. I love it. And I was recording you the whole time because I'm excited.
Awesome.
Like I just, as you were speaking, I was like, oh my God, like you're right. I know this other person who I want to share this with, and this other person, and look at what she just said here. And it's just so perfect. I'm so grateful. And again, Annie, so grateful for you putting this together, because every single one, I think there's been 3 so far, right, of these frequency playgrounds are so
I didn't really count mine,
beautiful.
the first one, because I was like, I don't know, kind of wasn't that good.
Oh, are you kidding me? It was
Love
amazing.
it.
It was okay. It was okay. It was on devotion. I don't know, whatever. I'm gonna do another one later. Now that I know how they should work, I'm gonna do it.
You have a million ways to use Healy too. And I want to thank you for you sharing even with me, because I'm excited to share with Cacao in the future as well, what you've helped me to really do. So Brianna, thank you. This is so beautiful. I just loved every second of it. And I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Kim, how about you? Let's hear from you real quick. Pop on and unmute. Yep, you. Kim. Unmute yourself, babe. Ask to unmute. Can you unmute yourself? There you go. There you go.
I really love all of it, and what I'm feeling is the staying connected and like the consciousness of just the gratitude for our food and the awareness of like our surroundings and what we're doing with our thoughts and our actions, and it just all of these connected playground things just really are driving it in. It's like the remembering and just moving with intention, and I love it all. It makes me so happy to be a part of it. And then just kind of, even though you already have awareness, it's the remembering to tune in when you're so busy and like take that deep breath and, you know, give thanks to the food and the farmers and how it came to be. And so I just love it all. Thank you so much for sharing, you guys.
Mm,
Yeah, thank you.
that was lovely. Thank you, Kim. That was great. Yeah.
Annie, I had something.
Okay, go ahead.
On the piece about the freezing the food and the frequency in the food, it made me think of the experiments that Dr. Masaru Emoto did with the water. And those were frozen to see the patterns in the crystals of the different emotions and the different ways. So I kind of think that what is spoken into or what is infused in that, even when it's frozen, it stays. I just wanted to share that, popped in my head whenever that conversation came up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good point. Thanks, Lydia. Yeah. Base. How about you? How was that for you?
Yeah, thank you, Brie. That was beautiful, and I think cooking's going to be so much fun now because I can start putting stuff in there, recording some frequencies as well, and then that's why I was asking about freezing really because I like to make some batch cooking, and I can put it all in and know that it's safely in there, and when I eat it, I'm going to get all that goodness from all those frequencies. So that's brilliant. But no, I would like to see once a month as well doing the cooking thing. I think that would be a really good thing.
Mhm.
But thank you very much, and thank you, Annie, as always.
Thanks, Base.
Love
Yep.
that.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Charlie, let's hear from you real quick.
Hello, beautifuls. Oh my gosh, Brie, that was so beautiful. I can't even begin to tell you how much I thank you so much. My whole world has changed around food over the last year, and I've been giving so much energy to that love. And like, I feel like when I make my meals at home, I'm eating at a 5-star restaurant. Like my plates are just like so beautiful and so like, I take pictures of almost all my food. I never share them, but I'm like, oh, I gotta see that. I gotta save this because it's gorgeous, you know? And and so I just love that. I love, love, love it. And just bringing that frequency into that and our love into it and everything. It means so much and it's so important. So thank you so, so much. This is exactly the right vibe and frequency that we are on right now. And I'm so excited to just blow it up. Thank you so much for bringing that beautiful food and beauty into our world. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Charlie.
you. Wow.
Lorian, how about you?
Hi, everyone. That was really good, Brie. I was really grateful to do the beginning part where we got into our hearts because I feel like, you know, when we are cooking, sometimes we are busy. And I really like that, Annie, you say no cooking, no fighting in the kitchen. I think that's super important. And really putting your energy into the food. And I love the Frequency Playground. Thank you so much for creating it, Annie. Giving me confidence to actually put one on for myself next time. Yeah, one of these times, yeah, with orthobionomy. I think it'll be great. I just finished some courses last week, so I'm excited to share with that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it and keep them coming. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, great. Brie, can you put your socials in here?
Yeah, sure. And I know a lot of people are not on anymore. But I could the recipes here, or if it's better, just let me know. Either way.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could pop them here, but we're also going to be putting them on the Frequency website. 100%. We'll have those things, right? That's okay, right, Judy? We can do that. Yep. That way, you know, people will have them as well. We have 2 more people. I just want to, since there's not very many people left. Anne, could we hear from you for a moment?
Yeah, so I'm very new to Healy. I've had mine for about a week and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Isabel Gonçalves here in Portugal introduced me to it, and I'm becoming absorbed by the vibration and everything and all the possibilities. So I really feel things are shifting, and I'm feeling very confident. And I have to join some of the groups because I keep running to Isabel for her help, but I don't need to do that from what she said. So I'm going to have to connect with some more. But Brie, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. Really, really beautiful. Thank you. That was great. That was great. And thank you, Annie. You don't know me yet, but hopefully we'll be seeing more of each other.
Absolutely.
How can I get the replay from the last one? Because it just sounded so good. I'd really like to see it.
Yeah. It'll be on the website, right, Judy? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
Yes.
those in all of the groups. So however you found this one today, I usually try to put it in all the Telegram groups and all of the the WhatsApp groups, and then if you're following Brie, I'm sure she'll post it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
I'll talk with Isabel. I'm going to be with her not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. So we'll be face to face, and she can, you know, she can really help me connect with all of this. But thanks so much for everything. It's been beautiful.
and
Thank
just
you.
as a side note, you guys can invite your prospects to these frequency playgrounds are so that we can have people that don't have Heelys that might be interested. You know, you can invite them to come, especially if you had somebody who was interested in food. Or now you can send them the replay, right? So you'll be able to send them the replay of the food one. Or like if you know an acupuncturist, right? You could send them the replay of Kim's Shen Talk, right? So we're gonna have so many different kinds that you'll be able to like kind of pick and choose from those if you know, because there's so many different kinds of people. And I think that Healy resonates with different people in different ways, right? So we're trying to speak to lots of different kinds of people instead of just one particular person, right? So, and then Genevieve, hi, so good to see you.
Hi. Hi, thank you, Brie. This was so, I mean, it was so enlightening for me because I love cooking, I love food, and now I have a feeling that I can even feed the family with the Healy instead of putting the Healy, you know. So Annie, you know, I'm getting that mag now for sure. So yeah, it's great. Thank you. Sourdough, what a great idea. That's just like, oh wow, what did I think of that? So cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing this. Yes, I'm looking forward to more, definitely more playground with this. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Genevieve.
thank you.
All right. Well, we heard from with a small amount of people. It's kind of nice to just hear some of that feedback, and I wanted you to get all of that feedback, Brie, so you can like take it all into your heart and, you know, take it to your next cooking project or whatever. Yeah. So thank you guys for coming. Brie, do you have any last words that you want to share with us?
No, I just like, well, yeah, this, like I said, I had a business where I was preparing food for the local farmers market here, and it brought me so much joy, but it also was so challenging, and it really kind of took away my time from my family. So without knowing about Healy or this being an option in my life, I chose to close the business, and it like a lot of people around town were like heartbroken, but it's perfect because now I can channel that into things like this. And now I can like, what I'd actually prefer to do is teach people how to do these things, because the idea of like having this like large scale production, it broke my heart, because I also thought about how much waste can go into mass producing something. I was like, I just don't want to contribute to that, but I want to reach people. So this, I'm thankful for you, Annie, and I'm thankful for everyone that came through to this. And yeah, my heart is like super like just out here now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're gonna talk, and hopefully Brie will agree to do at least, you know, that would be fun. More of these, as many as we can into. But I love that. I would love to have, you know, Brie's kitchen, Brie's frequency.
Well, I got to get to you. We got to cook together. Annie's amazing.
Well,
Awesome.
yeah, I cook more like homey foods. I don't cook such gorgeous, beautiful beet foods, but I'm going to start creating these beautiful foods that, yeah, I can't wait to learn more from Brie. So thank you guys so much. That was really fun. Okay, snaps.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, Judy.
Bye bye.
Bye.